The first flicker of authenticity came not from truth, but from error. Early photographs were limited by grain and exposure time. These weren't signs of quality. They were side effects of the medium itself. Yet people began to value those flaws as a kind of proof that what you saw was real. It wasn't about technical perfection. It was about something human slipping through. Bathers called it the punctum. That detail in a photograph that doesn't just look real, but feels like it almost escaped control. That grain on your old film photo didn't happen by design. It felt accidental and therefore alive. Now we generate those very same textures algorithmically to sell authenticity as a commodity.
AI-generated text filters represent both a powerful tool and an ethical tightrope, enhancing creativity while posing risks of humanization and bias.
In music production software, a button labeled Humanize can take an otherwise sterile MIDI sequence and introduce subtle timing errors, mimicking how a real musician might falter between beats. This isn't about improving the sound. It's about convincing our ears that something human was at work. We reject perfection, not because we want chaos, but because we crave the illusion of soul in the machine. We are now offered digital tools that simulate handwriting, crackling audio, and aged film grain. Not by accident, but as deliberate design choices. These filters pass a test. We don't even realize we're administering. Is this created by a person or something else? The answer must be person to gain trust, so the machine learns how to pretend. The deeper we fall into algorithmic culture, the more we demand proof of human touch. Like a child asking if Santa is real after seeing his shadow on film. In this paradoxical world, AI fakes are detected not just by code, but by their lack of soul, a concept as vague as it is powerful. But when imperfections become currency in the authenticity industry, we should ask whose flaws matter and who profits from them. The irony is that these same systems can be tricked into thinking a machine. Generated flaw feels human enough to pass. In the mid-1950s, researchers debated whether a machine could think, a question eerily similar to today's discussions about whether AI can feel. Something as abstract as authenticity. What was once philosophical is now commercial. Companies sell tools that promise to detect deepfakes and algorithmic art. But the same algorithms are used to create better fakes in return. This creates an arms race where neither side wins. Only profits are extracted from our growing uncertainty. is less about what's made and more about who can detect it first. A high-stakes game of whack-mole where the mole keeps evolving. When even imperfection becomes a feature that can be manufactured, sold, or reverse engineered, we lose our anchor to truth. And here's the twist. In this new trust economy, authenticity itself is not just contested but traded. Bought by brands and politicians who want us to believe in their human touch when it's all machine coded.
People don't usually think of math as beautiful, but fractal geometry is a scientific application of computer graphics that may be the most amazing of all.
Neil Postman warned that in Technopoly, technology doesn't just support our ideas, it redefines them. Truth is no longer a matter of experience or evidence, but the output of systems that claim objectivity through repetition and scale. What was once subjective, like love, intelligence, or authenticity, is now quantified by algorithms, which reduce meaning to data points we accept without question. The result: we trust machines not for clarity, but because they eliminate ambiguity, giving us numbers instead of nuance. In a world where that is algorithmic assurance rather than lived experience, authenticity becomes a process of technical validation. We no longer ask if something feels real. We check whether it was generated in the right way. The loop tightens. We trust only what looks like reality, but that illusion is carefully engineered to look spontaneous. Paradoxically, the more convincing these simulations become, the less meaningful genuine experience feels. The final absurdity of Technopoly's authenticity loop is this: truth becomes a product line. It's no longer something people possess, but something sold in packages, each with the right mix of imperfection and polish to feel real. We don't buy belief anymore. We buy consumption. Trust shifts from personal conviction to algorithmic assurance. And when all meaning is mediated through technology, even reality itself becomes a curated experience.